Welcome to CCNA in 60 days. Your book's on Amazon, version 4, if you want to grab hold of a copy. Please subscribe to the channel so you see all the other videos. And hit the bell, if you don't mind. So we're going to cover RIP day 19. Not specifically mentioned in the syllabus as far as I know, but the reason we cover it is it's basic routing, which is in the syllabus, and also it covers a lot of things that you do need to know about for the exam, such as classful and classless, and how routes are advertised. So the easiest way is with a routing protocol, and we need a simple one really. So RIP is the one. So read the cram guide every day as usual. Watch the videos. Do the day before if you can. Also, just review it. Do any labs. Take today's exam. Go to subnetting.org and/or 101 Labs IP subnetting book. So today we're going to cover RIP, and there'll be a lab so you can actually configure it and see how it all works. There's some books that'll help you, 2 subnetting books and 101 Labs Cisco CCNA version 4. So without further ado, we'll get into the lesson. So let's rip into RIP. You're only really asked about RIP version 2 in the exams nowadays because RIP has been retired. However, I think in order to understand version 2, you really need to know a little bit about version 1. Kind of makes sense, really. So RIP version 1 is classful, as I've said before. No subnet mask information sent out with the updates, and it sends route updates via broadcasts. So RIP version 2 is an enhancement to RIP version 1. There are a lot of shortcomings and complaints, and so it was improved upon. So it's not actually a different protocol as such. It's classless, so it supports VLSM. It sends that information. It also supports MD5 authentication. So what this means is route updates have to be authenticated using the authentication MD5 algorithm. This also can be used with OSPF and other routing protocols. But basically it's a way of securing route updates on your network. Route updates, instead of being broadcast, are multicast, and they're sent out on a multicast address 224.0.0.9. Now, part of your network can use RIP, and part of it can use RIP2 if, for whatever reason, you can't use RIP2. The other thing you need to know is some routing timers for the routing table being sent, expiring routes, flushing them and holding them down. So again, these are included in most good CCNA study guides as well. Okay, RIP, it uses UDP for port 520, in case you ever need to know or get asked that. It's got a maximum hop count of 15. Some people say 16. It's not 16, it's 15 because the 16th is unreachable, so it won't wait to get to the 16th hop. It will expire or the packet will explode at 15. Now, I mentioned before you're only going to get tested really on RIP version 2. Configuring RIP version 2 is really easy. You enable RIP on the router and you add the version 2 command. Pretty simple. And then all you do is tell the router which networks you want to advertise. So router config, you type router RIP. The router drops into config router mode, type version 2, and then however many networks you want to advertise. Now there is an optional command. RIP and other protocols as well will summarize at major network boundaries. So I'll show you an example in a moment. But if you don't want it to summarize your network addresses for whatever reason, you have to type the no auto-summary command. This is really important. So you can see on the left hand side we've got 3 routers, and we've subnetted them down from /16 into 2/30, 3/30 addresses, the 4 network, the 8 and the 12 network. Now normally the major network will be summarized down to 172.16/16 at the major network boundary, which means it's going through another network. If you don't want that to happen, you type the no auto summary command and all of the available subnets would be advertised out. So do you want to do it? The answer is it depends on how you want your network to work and if you've got your network split on one side of a major network boundary or not. Alright, so I've put a basic configuration for RIP down here. Feel free to pause the video for a moment and have a look at which networks I've put on which router. RIP troubleshooting, pretty basic. Show IP protocols command will show you what's running and how you've configured it. The show IP route shows which routes have been advertised and which have been learned and which are connected. Debug IP RIP will debug RIP updates coming in and out of the router. The other thing to mention about RIP is you have to advertise which network, you have to type which networks you want RIP to advertise, and you're going to advertise only networks that are connected to your router. Alright, so there's the output of the show IP protocols command. It tells you automatic network summarization is in effect. What that means is somebody's typed no auto summary. You can see it's routing for two networks, the 172.16 and 192.168.1.0 network. I've typed a show IP route command and you can see one of the networks here. The three are connected and one of them has been learned by RIP. Okay, in a debug IP RIP you can just see some basic updates there. Version 2 received, update, sending version 2 to a multicast address, and you can see which networks have been sent and which ones have been learned. Okay, so that's the final slide. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the RIP routing lab, or RIP version 2 more specifically. We're not going to worry about RIP version 1 because it's no longer tested, and I've covered the theory of what I think you'll need to know in the presentations. So you normally in the exam see a network like this, perhaps another router added. It's all the same kind of stuff really. The network between router A and router B is 172.16.1.0/30, and this is a common mask that you'll see used between two hosts over a wide area network where you only need two host numbers. So .1 is the IP address for the left router serial, and .2 is the IP address for the right hand router serial. We're going to add a loopback address on the back here, which is going to simulate a network 192.168.1.1, and it's got a /26 mask, and on the right hand side it'll be 10.1.1.1, which is just representing the host on another network the other side, so we can do some routing. So first things first, I'll start a configuration on router A. Show IP interface brief. I'll see what our serial is. So this is all the zeros on this, all the zeros on this router. So CompT interface serial 0/0/0, IP address 172.16.1.1, and we've got 30 bits of subnet masking. I'm trying to remember if I've got a clock rate on this side or not. You can type the do command if you're in a config mode, and it should issue the command without having to go back. So this is DCE, but there's no clock rate configured. So now we can see we need a clock rate. Clock rate 64, and I'm going to type no shut to bring this interface up. While I'm in configuration mode, I'm going to go interface loopback 0, and IP address 192.168.1.1. Let me just check the diagram, because I kind of made these addresses up. /26 mask. So that's going to be 255.255.255.192.168.1.1. 2. So I've stolen 2 bits for subnetting. You don't need to no-shut this interface. And nothing else to do on this side. So I'm going to do Control and Z. We're going to obviously do more configuration on this router. Go into router B, interface serial 0/0/0, IP address 172.16.1.2. Must get the subnet mask correct, otherwise it look like it should be working, but it won't. I'm going to do interface loopback 0 while I'm here. IP address 10.1.1.1. What was the subnet mask here? 12. Oops, sorry, 12 bits. 240.0.0. Right, first thing before we do anything else is to check we can ping across our serial interface, because if that don't work, then nothing is going to work. And there you go, that's all tickety-boo. So that's our connection working between router A and router B. The next thing we need to do is configure our RIP version 2 routing. Very, very easy to do. And let's go back to router B. Conf T router RIP, and in order to make it version 2 we type VER, or version if you want to type it all out too, and then you advertise the networks that are attached to this router. So don't try and advertise stuff that isn't attached. I can type network or net, and I don't need to worry about shortening the network. I'm going to advertise this just the default network, and I'm going to show you something in a minute. And we've got the 10 network on this router, haven't we? So I've come out of that, so I've advertised the 10 and the 172.16 network. Okay, so that all looks fine. I'll go into router B and do this, router A and do the same thing. Conf T router RIP version 2 net, and it's the 172.16 network, and I've got the 192.168.1.0 network. Oops, 192.168.1.0. Maybe they'll have a spell checker or a predictive texting on the next version of routers. Alright, so I've added those 2 networks. Now if we do a show IP route, or if you're in the UK, show IP route, you won't see a RIP network for the directly connected because it's directly connected, but you'll see a 10 network for the network connected to router B. Now you can see by default RIP has auto summarized this to the standard network, which is okay if that's what you want. If it isn't what you want in the exam, they may try and sort of trip you up or get you to add this. Pretty simple. Conf T router RIP, and then we type no auto, and I've hit the tab key, no auto dash summary. If I press Control and Z, now on this side you may need to type clear IP route and then asterisk. Will that work? Yes, it works on the simulator. I wasn't sure if that would work. Do a show IP route, and there you go. So you can see the 12 network has been advertised now instead of just the default /8. Now I could do this on the same side. I could do this for the 192 network. What I'm going to do is let you go through the lab and work out how to do that yourself. So you've seen the command, you just need to add it onto router A, and then when you do this lab, if you go over to router B, do a show IP route, I want you to be showing the /26 mask there. Have fun!